Here's what you get with this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
Finding out which story to use really comes from you actually finding your stories and creating that vault of stories. If you are on the other side of the phone, listening to headphones, and you're thinking, well, nothing shitty ever happened to me. I don't think I have a story. I encourage you to think again.
Get busy living or get busy dying. Or just listen to today's Nice Guys on Business podcast. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss the Nice Guys on Business. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
So here's the deal, Nice Guy community. Grow your business using the oldest and most proven marketing strategy in the world, speaking. And if you're sick of doing one-on-one meetings to acquire customers and want to systematize the client acquisition, I'm not sure systematize is a word. Did I make it up just now? Is it systemize or systematize? I don't really know, but it's okay because Kat's here to fix it all. Possibly you've done some speaking and you've been on stages, but it hasn't been maybe the best tool when it comes to monetizing your business. And if you want to do more speaking, but you need to know how to find and book consistent stages, this is the place for you. If you're ready to make an impact in people's lives and become an influencer in your industry, tune in today. Kat Halushka is here. Let me tell you a little bit about Kat, and then we'll make it live here right now. Kat Halushka, she's a mentor, a speaker, and a coach, and her story is inspiring and compelling. And after sitting in a 3-day class with her in Vancouver, she wasn't sitting in the class, she was running the class. I knew Nice Guys community, she was a fit for you. Here's what I understand. She's built a 6-figure marketing agency from the ground up in less than a year. Today, she is a living testament to her true passion, which is helping entrepreneurs grow with confidence, make profits, get to the power part of their business, and really share a story that's compelling through public speaking. In the last 2 years, Kat has been on over 200 stages and generates over $1 million of revenue on those stages. I'm excited to have her here. Kat, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thanks, Doug. Super excited to be here. I know we met at the event, and it's been just such a pleasure to learn about your passion and what it is you're doing for the podcasting community and all of the listeners here.
Thanks, Kat. And I do love podcasting, as I know that you do love speaking. And you are truly in your natural element when it comes to being on stage and teaching other people's how to do whatever it is that thing is at that moment that you're teaching. Now, you've gone from stages where you're teaching professional speaking. You've gone from stages where you're teaching people course management, online course. I mean, I've seen you do a bunch of things, and I've watched some videos, so I know you do a bunch of things. How is it that speaking has become that passion that really drives you?
Well, you know, for myself, my really, really first business was actually network marketing. And it was selling protein shake, reselling it, really. That's what network marketing is. And when I signed up for that business model, the one thing I told my upline, right, is I will not call my family and friends and ask them to buy my shit.
I got it.
To which they said, yeah, sure. And then they tried to force me to do it anyways. So I just knew there's got to be a different way. That said, English was my second language, and I was far from a natural speaker and an extrovert. And so even though standing on stage didn't come to me easily, I thought, well, even if I put together a community, a tribe of people that is going to have the same goals and wants to have the same results as me, which was losing weight at the time, well, it's got a bound to be a successful business.
Right.
And so it did. And that was my really first stage presence is really getting in front of 5, 6, 7 people who would come out to my fitness events. Really was like walking a park or a trampoline park, or there was some ping pong, right? So really, really easy light activities. And telling them all about what it is that I want for myself and why I want it. And then sharing with them a tool that could help them get there.
I want to stress the importance of this, because I think where most people just are, they get lost in the process is they think it really does require hundreds, if not thousands of people to follow you through in
Oh my
your
gosh,
community.
yeah.
And talk about, because because you mentioned it just a moment ago, and I was going to bring it up a little bit later on, because I think it's important to realize that we're not talking about creating a community. Well, it could become a movement. I mean, you could have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that follow you eventually. But in the beginning, especially with like Nice Guys on Business, we started, I mean, we're now at a position where, very fortunate, we have over 3 million downloads of our show. But in the beginning, those first couple of months, we were lucky if we got into double digits with the number of downloads that we had. So our community was ultra, ultra small. So share your philosophy on the size of your community as creating, as it relates to the impact that you can create in the world.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's really depends on what your passion and your expertise is, right? But for me, I'd rather have an event or be in a community that's much, much smaller, because I can hyper focus on what it is that they need, what challenges they're having, what is it that I can help them implement. Because when you speak in front of 500, 1,000 people, the reach is not actually larger. Contrary to what people think, when you speak in front of 500 people, how many of them do you think are actually paying attention to
Well,
what
it's
you're
what's
saying?
great about it is it's so funny, because I've had the good fortune, not on a regular occasion, but I've had the good fortune to be able to speak in front of large crowds, and it usually is that you know, the 90% beyond that first or even that second row. While you're connecting with your words, you're not pulling the energy from the entire group. You are pulling the energy from those that you can make eye contact with in those first couple of rows. You feel the room's energy, but oftentimes that works against you too. You're like thinking, you know, there's a service staff that's actually clearing dishes in the background right now. It's like, why? I told them, please, no clearing dishes while I'm doing this. But yeah, the reality of it is, the smaller the crowd, the more impact that you can have. I love that. That's your philosophy. Is that something that you grew into, or were you disappointed, or were you excited about that?
You know what? I was just excited that there was one person who shared my passion for fitness.
Right, right.
So when I had events, I actually have had events where nobody would show up. And those were the disappointing times. But what I did, instead of giving up and deciding that, hey, nobody showed up, people must not be interested, is I would just grab my phone and start recording content. I would still talk about all the things that I'm passionate about, all the things that I want to create in the world, or all the tools and resources and strategies, and just put it out there anyways. And so instead of capturing the audience that didn't show up, I would still capture the audience online that was interested, but they might not be just local to me, right?
Right.
So no waste of time, no waste of energy, and just propelling
Wow.
forward no
Wow.
matter what.
That's inspiring just to know that. I mean, after, you know, there is a certain level of defeatist mentality that you go through when I'm sure that you invite and you get responses from at least a handful of people, or even one person that says I'm coming, and then nobody shows up, and to still have the intensity of creating this impact on the world. And I want to talk about that word in a second, impact, but the intensity to create this impact on the world with no one actually there listening to you. And that's got to be a big challenge. And it's great that you were able to do that. Obviously, it's gotten you to the point where it doesn't even really matter. Your message is so much more important than just creating a message with an audience in front of you. You can create an impact with an online community with nobody in your audience. So let's talk about that word impact for a second. How is it that people can create an impact using the spoken word? And it doesn't have to be in front of a big stage. So talk to me about the word impact for a moment.
You know what? To me, something that impacted me deeply, seeing one of the speakers for the very first event that I attended, was really them sharing the story. And storytelling is such a powerful tool, right? It's not just one word, but it's the way it's said, and what's the context, and what is the story surrounding it? What's the so what of that story? And really, to me, seeing all the hurdles that other people overcome, all the successes that they could get, but really seeing another immigrant on stage. By the way, I'm an immigrant from Russia, so I call it an unfair advantage because I just don't give up. My stubbornness is just over the roof.
I understood.
And so for me, seeing that piece of another immigrant on the stage sharing their story, and actually, well, let's be honest, having the balls to stand on the stage with broken English accent and trying to create some kind of change in the room, it created that shift in me. And it created and shifted me like nothing else, like no training or courses ever could, like no coach ever created for me, but just knowing that it's possible. It's that belief in possibility, belief that I can do it.
what I had the opportunity to witness as I was in your class in Vancouver for 3 days, and between you and Taryn and the rest of the group, you guys up on stage and sharing your story. Part of really what makes the biggest impact for me is exactly what you said, is the story that's told. It's almost unrelated to the business itself, but has everything to do with the business. Because when somebody shares a story that is relatable, compelling, inspiring, it's almost like you walk out of there feeling like, I don't even know what I just learned, but I know I'm excited about it. It's like, it's great. And it's not like it's motivational speaking. When you share somebody's hero's journey for you share from in their beginning stages to the obstacles that they've encountered, to the obstacles that they've overcome, to the, the reward that they've gotten as they've evolved. The amazing thing is that that's not motivation. That is more inspiring. And I love that. And then when you're able to masterfully combine your story with the things that you actually are bringing as your offer, it's magic. It really is magic. And so maybe we can talk about that for a moment, because I think that ultimately is important, that when somebody is working with you, you probably, why don't you share the process that you go through? Because you probably do help them share their story and then help them connect their story to their offer. So, but I want it in your words, because is that important? That would be important to me.
Absolutely. So we have a profitable signature system when it comes to creating your talks, creating your slides, deciding what story to choose. But really, the real foundation of that system is choosing the right story. And so we have a process that we take people through in extracting those stories. And really, I'm happy to share that. It's one of the most simplest things
absolutely.
that I've learned from my mentors back in the day. And it's really going back and
hold on. I just want to make sure that we're all aware of this. Okay, Kat is about to give away her magic. Okay, so Nice Guy community, the value proposition is the magic is about to happen. Are you listening? So put down the phone. If you're in a parking lot, just turn your car off. This is 5 minutes of amazing stuff that's about to come out. And I don't even know that it could be 100 minutes, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be a fairly brief description. Magic is about to happen. I'm just putting the parentheses at the beginning of the magic, and I'm going to cap it off with end parentheses at the end. Kat, you're on.
Yeah, so finding out which story to use really comes from you actually finding your stories and creating that vault of stories. And the thing is, if you are on the other side of the phone, listening to headphones, and you're thinking, well, nothing shitty ever happened to me. I don't think I have a story. I encourage you to think again. So what I want you to do is you're going to grab a pen and paper, and you're going to start writing your story right from the beginning of your life. So as far as you can remember, if it's 1 year old, it's 1 year old. If it's 5, it's 5. And you're going to start each stories from at the age of what's your age and what happened to you. It can be good. It doesn't have to be bad. Not all stories are bad.
Absolutely.
So it can be something incredible that happened to you. And you'd be surprised after writing 1, 2, 10, 20 of those stories, how many stories you actually have. Now, there's a whole different system in connecting that story to your offer.
Right.
And that is something that we teach at our 3-day event. But knowing those stories is the foundational piece to every talk that you will ever do, because training without a story creates no transformation.
And I want to emphasize this, in parentheses, by the way, because now Doug is talking, and now the magic has gone away. Kat's magic is there. Yes, it is the idea of creating the story, and it is amazing, because I remember, and this is probably going back about maybe 7 years ago, when I first did the career reinvention in 2013, at the time of the recording 7 years ago of this. And I can recall trying to pull from those stories and doing exactly what you said, sat down, wrote down. And this was a methodology that I used when I actually was writing my book too, writing down all of the important things that have happened in my life, all the stories that I could think of, all the people that connected me. And it literally came down to a 15-minute segment of my life that happened in 1992 that, if you look at from under a microscope, probably wasn't a big deal. However, when I can tie that particular story into what I saw as, I think this is where I want to go in my future, I can absolutely make all the connections to this bar mitzvah that I was emceeing back in 1992, and 15 minutes of hell that I went through when the kids were literally sucking helium out of the balloon, lighting toilet paper on fire in the bathrooms. They were drinking at the bar. Everything that you could possibly imagine going wrong. That 15-minute segment taught me everything that I needed to know about how to actually create an impact in the world. Now, again, the next part which is the part that is Kat's magic, not only drawing the story out, but becoming that speaker that actually can create an impact using that 15-minute period of time, or Nice Guy community, whatever it is that you have in your life. That's the thing that's going to draw you into understanding where your impact is going to be from here on out, what business opportunities that you can create for yourself, what audiences will engage with your material, what opportunities, what offers you're able to make, because really, isn't it all tied to it as an end result? If you're in it for the money, you've got to tie it to some sort of offer, correct?
Absolutely. And I mean, one of my mentors, Marley Jacks, she has this like brilliant quote that I use all the time. Transformation happens in a transaction. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a phenomenal story that you share with your audience on stage, on the podcast, on a Facebook Live, people feel inspired. But if they don't take the next step, if they don't take action, that was a waste of your talk.
Give it to me one more time. I'm writing it down.
The quote?
Transformation.
Yeah, transformation happens in the transaction.
All right. And explain it again, because I think this is so critical. It does not happen just by inspiring somebody. Inspiration without action is absolutely freaking nothing.
Yeah, it's literally, it's just a waste of your talk, because people are inspired, they're pumped, and then they go out of the room, and what happens? Life,
nothing.
life, and it all piles onto you. And all of a sudden you forget about being inspired about that one thing that the speaker shared with you, even though at the moment it seemed like transformational experience, but then you don't take action. And if you don't take action, then that's it. It's over.
All right. So Nice Guy community, just be aware. I have now done, in 5 years and a month or so, I've done 750 of my 1,050 interviews, or whatever it is. I have done all of these interviews. I have never just done what I did. I took the line that I was just given. I emailed it to myself, because that is going to be up on my computer all the time. It's going to be my screensaver, my background, and I've never done that because I've never had such an easy line to create as much of an impact. It's so true. It's like there's so many people that are out there thinking, well, is it really fair to make money from my message or make money from my story? I mean, am I really that shallow to think that money is the reason why I get up every day and do what I do? And I would say, well, yeah, we live in a capitalist society. Probably is a good idea to make money doing what you do. But how about doing what you do out of the love of what you're doing, it knowing that there is money coming down the road? Knowing that there's money through the action that people are taking through the transaction. And unless people are taking that opportunity to make the transaction, your transformation didn't do anything. It didn't really transform. It inspired. It fell on their ears and they left. And like Kat just said, life happens. Interesting. So talk about where they go from here. So now somebody understands the importance of the story, the importance of making that transaction happen. You connect the two things together. What is actually the process by which somebody goes through when they are connecting with you? Is it a one-on-one type of coaching? Is it through mentorship? Is it through an online course? How do you offer what you do?
So really, we have different layers for people at different levels. That's all it comes for, right? But a great start for you, if you're an entrepreneur who is starting out and you're like, heck, I just want to get some clients, I want to create some impact in their lives, then you can go to profitableimpactacademy.com/find-clients. It's a great free resource that you can download. It's really some of the ways that I've used in my several businesses that I took to 7 figures to show you what is it that you can do to get clients. Because it doesn't have to be hard, and you don't have to be this authority influencers. You can build it as you go along.
Yeah, and if you didn't catch the URL that you just gave, of course, it's going to be right there in the show notes. It is profitableimpactacademy.com/find-clients. It will be right there in the show notes. So walk me through some of the process, or some of maybe the symptoms that somebody has when they know it's time to reach out to you, Kat. What are they experiencing in their business, in their life, in their journey, that you can become the doctor to provide the prescription for?
For sure. So if you're overwhelmed right now with all things online marketing, you're sitting there and you're like, I tried social media and I posted 3 times a day and I tried Facebook ads and I feel like I need to spend all this money to get clients. You're in a perfect place right now to actually connect with me because you don't need all of that.
Right.
To take your business past the 100 to 100K, you really don't need to be such an advanced online marketer. All you need to do is have a signature talk that converts your audience into your clients so they can take the next step.
That's it? It's that simple?
It's that simple.
All right.
That's what I've done. So the website profitableimpactacademy.com, you'll see there's like 3 pages there. In fact, we didn't have it until a month ago. And our business is past 6 figures.
That's
just
amazing.
by using speaking.
Well, the amazing thing is, and again, I've seen Kat in action, and what were there might have been 40 people in the room that we were in. And I'll tell you, the impact that you can create in a room of 30 or 40 was enough to inspire me to say, hey, I can't remember if I invited you or you said, hey, I want to get on the Nice Guys on Business, but I do remember saying at the beginning when you first started talking, I'm thinking, man, she would be such a perfect fit for those in our community. That's cool. So where do you see the next step for your business? Where are you going? What is some of the stuff that you have on your goal sheet in the upcoming, few months or year or so?
Well, we're super excited because our events are growing drastically now from when we started last year. We're not that like old of a business. And so this year we're implementing done for you speaking, from photography to branding to done for you slides and talks. I mean, this is super exciting because that's some of the people have been coming to us and asking for that. But besides that, we're excited to take our 3-day event where we'll put together a signature talk on the road. So by the end of this year, our goal is to go to Vegas and host it there because there's so many people who have been dying to attend. But for some reason, Americans don't have passports.
Yeah, a lot of Americans don't have passports. Well, wait, Las Vegas, you don't need a passport from America to get to Las Vegas.
I know, but right now we're in Canada.
Oh, you mean for somebody to cross over the border? Yes, that is true. Yeah, to be able to do something in a town like Vegas would be great. I would tell you to come to probably a less distracting town to begin with, maybe. But Vegas is pretty easy to get to, and it is pretty centrally located for everybody to have access to it. Well, I'm excited for you, Kat, and I'm looking forward to getting more information and hearing more from you and what your company is all about. Before we go, can we take off the speaker hat for a second and the entrepreneur coach hat for just a moment and talk to me as someone that is building their business also, because it seems like you're right in the power zone for somebody that can either feel like they have an opportunity with their business that's really moving forward or one that's not quite making it. And obviously, in your case, the business is going well. So as an entrepreneur, as someone that's new at growing your business from a relatability perspective, what's some of the stuff that you are still working on, some of the struggle that you might be encountering even today with a successful business?
There's 2 things that are a continuous struggle. Number 1 is growing a team. It's putting the right people in the right positions and being a leader within the business. It doesn't come that easy. I'm still learning a lot of things there, and but I don't give up, and I have a coach who's helping me through it. But really, the core, the foundation that I have to work on every single day, and as an entrepreneur, you need to, is the mindset. If you don't have the mindset to not give up, if you don't have the commitment to your business, if you don't have the commitment to your life, if you don't have the mindset to say yes to opportunities before you're ready, then it's going to be really freaking hard.
Yeah. And I would say that is completely relatable to even someone, I've been self-employed for 30 years, more recently since 2013 doing this, and even more recently with our Turnkey production business in the last 3 or 4 years. And I completely understand what you're saying. The team building stuff, while we are working towards building a bigger team, we have 7 people on our team right now. And the challenge is that I never thought myself to be someone that would be in charge of all of these people.
Right.
So, fortunately I put somebody else in charge of being in charge. It's because I don't want to do it. That's not in my zone of genius, as we work on, even more so all the time now, and understanding what that means and what your zone of genius is. Managing people isn't necessarily my zone of genius. Training people in group, inspiring people, sharing my story, sharing their story, helping them connect their story also. again, that I feel like through podcasting, that is my, that's my zone of genius. I've kind of landed in the exact right spot. So I love that that's where you are, reconfirming for me that that's, hey, we're all kind of learning through that. And I love what you said about just being in the right mind, in the right mindset, and understanding you have to start saying yes to some things before you really are ready for them. Because how many things come along where you need a marketing plan, you need a business plan, you need some of the stuff that we just, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we don't even think about those things. Like, well, I'm just going along my merry way, and that will get you only so far. That you are where you are, Nice Guy community. You are where you are because of the actions that you have taken so far. And if you're hitting this upper limit, if you're hitting this issue that you can't get beyond, oftentimes it's because this is the only place you know how. It's time to bring in an expert like Kat to get that business. And we're not talking necessarily about just being a professional speaker. Your speaking, even in small groups, has a huge impact on the actions that they take. And so it might be speaking in front of a group of 6 or 7 people on a big proposal for $50,000 or for $10,000 that you're working on. And don't lose sight of the fact that is speaking, and that is creating you have the opportunity to create an impact as well. I'm assuming, again, part of what your messaging is, will you help people with that as well?
Absolutely. And, I really look at speaking as so much more than just a skill of public speaking. That's one single thing that helped me gain more clarity, more confidence, and more clients in my life and business.
Perfect.
And that what supported me through the last several years in building a marketing agency, selling it, building a different business, failing there, starting over. So, the journey is long. But as long as you're excited about it, it's worth it, right? And so that's, for me, it's clarity, confidence, and clients. If you have those 3 things, you're set. Clarity, confidence,
and clients, and understand transformation comes through the wait, hold on a second. I wrote myself the email, so let me just go back and find it again. Hold on a second. Transformation happens in the transaction. See that? It's already in my inbox. I'm so ready to use that over and over and over again. Can I steal that from you when I speak on stage? I'll give you credit, I promise.
So if you want a quote, that's actually Marley Jacks.
I'm giving it to you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I learned it from you. You've been using it long enough.
My pleasure.
I hear when you've used something 10 or 11 times, it becomes yours. So
it's officially mine then.
It's officially Kat's. Excellent. Well, Kat Halushka, thank you so much for being on the show, and I appreciate everything that you're all about, and especially appreciate your message and your inspiration to our community as well.
Thanks for having me.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Kat Halushka. All of her information, including access to her website, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, the only podcast I provide voice for and also actually listen to, I'm Steve O'Brien. Well, that's what I tell them, at least. Listen to the beginning and the end. All the stuff in the middle is just yak, 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 yak.